In a galaxy teeming with civilizations, the Cathari Dominion stands unchallenged. Towering six-limbed bioforms with minds engineered for tactical perfection and emotionless obedience, the Cathari are the culmination of genetic warcraft. They do not evolve. They are built, designed without fear, doubt, or empathy. They see themselves as the final product of intelligent life, pure, cold, and undefeatable. Fear, to the Cathari, is a weakness, an outdated evolutionary glitch. They eradicated it from their species generations ago. Other species, those that scream when the blades come, that tremble before superior firepower, are considered lesser not for their biology, but for their fragility. To the Dominion, war is not chaos, it is a precise sequence: detect, deploy, destroy, and it has always worked. In this opening chapter, the reader is introduced to the galaxy as ruled by this predator species. Several vassal races exist under Cathari dominance, paying tribute and labor in exchange for their continued survival. Others have been exterminated without ceremony. The Cathari do not negotiate. They do not understand mercy. They expand. But then a new star system is brought to their attention. Sol, a seemingly insignificant blue planet in the Orion Arm, has developed faster-than-light signals and primitive interplanetary vessels. Its inhabitants call themselves humans, and they are just beginning to scratch the surface of interstellar technology. To the Cathari, this is a routine extermination. A fledgling species with no defensive fleet, no advanced weaponry, and, most damning of all, a culture steeped in emotionality and violence. Clearly unstable, clearly doomed. The Dominion's High Command holds a brief strategy council, more out of custom than necessity. No diplomatic channels are opened, no emissaries sent. A scout fleet is authorized for Containment Protocol Delta. Observe, assess threat levels, and if no significant resistance is found, begin eradication. As always, they expect total victory within planetary rotation cycles. One Cathari warlord, Zirzal, expresses a mild curiosity at the human obsession with stories, emotions, and irrational behavior. He reads intercepted broadcasts of Earth, media, and scoffs. These creatures glorify fear, he says, bemused. They build monuments to violence, to their own mortality. They are infants lost in delusions. Another officer remarks, and we shall teach them clarity. As the fleet departs, there's no fanfare. To the Cathari, this is just another step in the inevitable tide of galactic cleansing. Yet the tone is subtly eerie. In their arrogance, the Cathari are blind to a simple truth. Fear is not a flaw of weakness. It is a tool of survival, a signal, a warning. And what they fail to realize is this: what they lack is exactly what makes humans so dangerous. The chapter closes with the scout fleet entering Sol space. Earth's blue-green orb hangs silently in the void, unaware of the terror approaching. But unseen by the Cathari, sensors begin to fail. Shadows on their screens don't match physical structures. And somewhere, in the dark of their neural interface, a whisper not in their language murmurs, "We see you." The hunt has begun, but not the one they expected. The Cathari scout fleet enters the Sol system with the cold efficiency they're known for. They spread out in coordinated formations, scanning the solar neighborhood with precision. Initial findings are typical: one habitable planet, several outposts on moons and orbital stations, traces of nuclear and kinetic warfare in the distant past, all within expected parameters. But as they approach Earth, something begins to feel wrong. No planetary defenses rise to meet them. No warning broadcasts. No electromagnetic activity beyond passive drift. There are cities, large, sprawling megastructures indicating a Type 1 civilization, but they're all dormant, intact, but lifeless. No running vehicles, no lighting, no sound. Earth, once alive with billions of signals, is silent. The Cathari, unfamiliar with paranoia, do not initially recognize the tension building among their ranks. Their sensors begin to misreport. Topographical readings fluctuate. Buildings appear to shift in size or position. Drones sent to the surface return corrupted data or crash inexplicably. One squad that descends into Manhattan reports back that the air is breathable, the infrastructure untouched, but the shadows feel wrong. They report feeling watched. That word alone, watched, is a red flag. Cathari do not feel. Yet even their most hardened warbred begin expressing irrational observations. Whispers over comms, flashes of movement at the edge of vision, units going dark without hostile contact. Commander Zherzhal, leading the operation, grows increasingly agitated. His directives become shorter, more aggressive, as if trying to suppress an unknown anxiety. When a search and sweep unit disappears in what remains of Tokyo, he personally reviews their last recorded visuals. He sees a human child, alone in the street, still, unmoving. Then, without warning, the screen fills with static. Screams. Cathari. Screams, raw and panicked, echo through the comm logs before cutting off. The footage should be dismissed as an error, a data glitch. But Zherzhal replays it multiple times, unable to shake a strange weight in his chest. One of the analysts says quietly, "I think I saw the child smile." Another city, São Paulo, is explored by a mechanized patrol. The unit walks into an open square filled with mannequins dressed in military uniforms, Cathari uniforms. A radio crackles to life with their own language, a voice mimicking Dominion protocol perfectly. Then it laughs. Not a human laugh. A mocking version of a Cathari laugh. At this point, fear, a thing they were never programmed to understand, begins to spread. Subtly, silently, like a virus. Zherzhal orders a temporary withdrawal to orbit. Half of the atmospheric vessels never return. One cruiser reports internal system malfunctions and claims something breached their hull from the inside, despite no exterior damage. Surveillance footage shows crew members staring at blank walls for hours, then turning weapons on themselves. As the fleet regroups in high orbit, a distorted Earth transmission begins playing across all frequencies. It's an old signal, looped and scrambled. A woman's voice sings a lullaby. Behind her voice is static, whispers, and something breathing. The Cathari commander demands answers, but none come. Earth remains dark, silent, watching. They came expecting conquest. They found a graveyard. But the dead aren't resting. And somewhere in the black void of Earth's surface, a message is scratched in ancient Latin on the wall of an abandoned cathedral. Nos videmus. We see you. The Cathari Dominion receives a broken transmission from the scout fleet orbiting Earth. It's not part of any formal report. It wasn't sent through official Dominion relay protocols. In fact, it shouldn't have been able to breach the Dominion's interstellar security systems at all. And yet, it arrives. The footage is corrupted, glitching, and interspersed with static and screams. A Cathari officer is shown shaking, his armor splattered with something not his own blood. His mandibles tremble. His speech is fragmented. They're not like the others. They know we're here. They let us land. The cities are traps. The message cuts out with a final shriek that doesn't belong to any known species. For the first time in their empire's long, merciless history, the Cathari Council witnesses something they do not have a word for: panic. The broadcast is immediately classified, but the emotional contagion spreads among the upper ranks. Many suspect sabotage or some kind of psychological warfare. Others whisper, privately, of things they don't understand. Still, the Dominion cannot allow itself to appear vulnerable. They assume this must be a sophisticated ruse by a deceptively advanced species. And so, they respond the only way they know: overwhelming force. A new, heavily armed fleet is dispatched. This one includes elite bio-warriors, advanced war machines, and AI-guided dreadnoughts. Their ships carry psychic dampeners used only in the most dangerous battlefields, and mine-fire suppressants to dull emerging malfunctions. They arrive at Seoul with cold purpose, determined to erase Earth and restore the illusion of Cathari dominance. Upon arrival, they find wreckage. The original scout fleet is in pieces, some orbiting in unnatural spirals. One ship drifts lifelessly, with a single word scorched into its hull, "Run," written in burning plasma. Still, they proceed. Dropships descend into major cities under heavy escort. Soldiers move with textbook formation. They deploy atmospheric beacons, set up shield arrays, and begin mapping planetary infrastructure. That's when things start to go wrong. Again. It begins with interference in their communications. High-frequency bursts of Earth music, distorted jazz, hymns, and children's rhymes cut into their neural links. They assume it's signal pollution, until the lyrics start adapting. We see you marching, guns in hand, but no one leaves. This silent land. Then the AI begins misidentifying targets. Security drones open fire on their own. The ground patrols report mirror images of themselves walking the streets, sometimes even mimicking their voice patterns and command signals. But wrong. The replicas don't blink. Don't breathe. One elite squad stationed in Berlin goes offline. Their last visual? A vast cathedral, its walls covered in binary code, Earth's ancient languages mixed with Dominion data. One line repeats on every surface. You brought war. We perfected fear. A dreadnought in orbit is hijacked. It turns its cannons inward and obliterates its fleetmates before self-destructing with surgical precision. The Dominion fleet tries to retreat, but Earth's gravitational field has changed, increased, as if something beneath the planet is waking. The final message from the Second Fleet is never spoken aloud, only transmitted through raw emotion. And though the Cathari don't understand fear, what they feel in that pulse of psychic energy has no other name. A silent message rides the wave of their destruction, encoded in every ship fragment, every data byte, and every psychic echo. You came without fear. We made sure you'd leave with nothing else. The Cathari Dominion reels. 2 fleets annihilated, elite bio-warriors lost, dreadnoughts self-destructed, and not a single casualty confirmed on the side of humanity. Earth remains enigmatic, a blue world of dead cities, flickering static, and increasingly bizarre readings. But what frightens the Dominion most isn't what Earth does. It's what it doesn't do. Earth doesn't retaliate. It waits. The Dominion. High Council debates retaliation versus retreat. Internal factions form. Some demand Earth be declared a quarantine zone. Others believe this must be the work of an unknown ancient weapon, perhaps something left over from a precursor race. But one faction, led by warlord Krazoth, insists on answers. Not from orbit, not from drones, from within. Krazoth volunteers to lead a third expedition, smaller, quieter, and composed entirely of psychic null operatives with absolute control over their biological fear responses. These Cathari are specialists in psychological warfare, chosen for their resistance to even the most brutal mental assaults. They land in silence, no beacons, no public deployments, just infiltration. They touch down in northern Canada, an isolated location chosen for its minimal human infrastructure and natural barriers. For several hours, they find nothing but snow, forests, and silence. Readings are stable, no anomalies. Krazoth begins to believe this is all Dominion superstition, an empire conditioned to believe its own myths. Then, the dreams start. These aren't hallucinations. Each operative experiences vivid mental invasions. Their dreams are not of death or destruction, but of Earth's history, only wrong. Twisted versions of human wars where the dead smile. Cities where shadows walk like people. Children with hollow eyes leading parades of the damned. Krazoth forbids sleep. Within 36 hours, one operative goes missing. His biosignal continues to ping just beneath the ice. The squad drills into the glacier expecting to find a body. Instead, they find a human base, abandoned. Pre-FTL era, no signs of struggle. But on the walls, drawn in blood, is a massive handprint. Too large to be human, yet undeniably shaped like one. They return to their ship only to find it frozen solid, the hull laced with crystalline frost, spelling out a single phrase in multiple human languages. You stayed too long. Krazoth orders immediate extraction, but their comms are dead. The sky darkens. Those sensors show it as midday. The stars above vanish, not behind clouds, behind something else. Then, the voices start. Whispers through comms. Voices of loved ones long dead, of soldiers lost on distant worlds. The Kothari, engineered to be emotionless, begin breaking protocol, following phantom orders, turning on one another. They see themselves on distant hills, watching from behind trees, mimics wearing their skin, blinking slowly. Krizoth is the last to hold command. Before he's overwhelmed, he activates an ancient Dominion relic, one designed to send a final, psychic burst across light years, a call for help, a warning. But what reaches the Dominion is not his distress signal, it's Earth's voice. We did not evolve to conquer. We evolved to survive. Your mistake wasn't coming here. It was teaching us what fear looked like. Back on the Kothari homeworld, panic spreads like a virus. The word human becomes forbidden in official communication. Colonies go dark voluntarily. New protocols are enacted. Avoid Sol, avoid Earth. Never speak of what waits beneath, because Terra has awoken, and it is no longer silent. The Kothari Dominion tries to erase Earth from galactic records. Official star maps no longer list Sol. Access to archives involving the previous expeditions is revoked. Holonet discussions mentioning humanity are purged. The Dominion's most secure AI archivists are instructed to suppress data linked to the failed campaigns. The Empire wants to believe it never happened, but Earth doesn't let them forget. Whispers begin to spread across the fringe colonies. Traders, pirates, and scavengers speak of an unknown signal, faint but persistent, pulsing from a sector no longer mapped. Ships that stray too close to the unmarked system report strange system errors, hallucinations, or worse. Entire crews vanishing without distress calls. At first, the Dominion dismisses these as rumors, until the echoes begin. Without warning, Dominion colonies begin receiving copies of their own communications, messages they sent years ago, now warped and interwoven with strange additions, human children singing, recordings of Kothari soldiers screaming from expeditions, never officially acknowledged, and phrases in ancient Earth languages. Some of these messages are prophetic, describing events hours before they occur. One such echo details a sabotage before it happens. Exact coordinates, time, and outcome. When the sabotage is confirmed, paranoia erupts. It becomes clear someone, or something, is watching them. Ships begin to experience full system failures mid-warp. Internal cameras show fleeting glimpses of human figures in deep space corridors, figures that shouldn't exist. Crew members report feeling like they're being listened to, not by machines but by a presence. The Kothari's once stable infrastructure buckles under the strain. AI begin to break their own logic loops. Some fleets experience mutiny, not from ideological rebellion, but from the unbearable psychological pressure of being haunted. Psychic analysts name it echo war, not because humans attack with weapons, but because they attack with memory. Humanity is waging a psychological war across the stars, and they never leave Earth. Humanity, or whatever remains of it, is reaching out not with fleets, but with broadcasts, terrifyingly precise, devastatingly personal. Every echo is a scalpel, slicing into the emotional core of Kothari command structure. A once proud Dominion admiral is found in his war room, curled in the fetal position, whispering fragments of Earth nursery rhymes. His neural recorders show nothing but static and a face, just one human face, staring directly into his mind, blinking slowly. Entire Dominion research labs go offline after attempting to decode these transmissions. Surveillance logs show scientists laughing, crying, screaming in languages they never learned. One even begins carving ancient Earth war poetry into the walls in blood, line for line, perfectly preserved, all without human contact. The Dominion now realizes the awful truth. Earth didn't just defend itself, it reached in, it learned them. Somehow in the silence and darkness, it mapped the fears of a species that believed it had none. The Echo War isn't about territory, it's about influence, about dominance of the mind. And Earth is winning. Not with bullets, not with ships, with silence, with memory, with terror. And just when the Cathari begin to believe they've reached the worst of it, a final signal reaches the Dominion core. A simple audio transmission, a child's voice, a whisper. Now you understand. Fear is a weapon, and we made it human. The Cathari Dominion, once the most feared empire in the known galaxy, is now fractured, not by warships or planetary sieges, but by the corrosive whisper of something far more devastating, unrelenting terror. Earth's attacks never came as fleets or fire, but as infections of the mind. The Dominion's greatest weakness was not their lack of strength, but their assumption that fear was a primitive, disposable instinct. They believed they had evolved beyond it, but humanity hadn't. Humanity had refined fear, cultivated it, survived by mastering it, weaponizing it like no species had before. Now, the Cathari live in shadow. Across the galaxy, Dominion colonies isolate themselves, refusing off-world contact. Research centers once focused on conquest now devote their every resource to studying Earth's signals. Each new message a puzzle with no solution, a horror without context. Some worlds have gone completely silent, their populations vanishing, without resistance or trace. The most terrifying realization: humanity has not left Earth. Every invasion has been digital, psychic, or mimetic. Earth never launched ships, never sent troops, never once crossed interstellar borders. They simply waited, until someone came to them. And now, they don't need to leave Earth to win. A galactic broadcast, received across all channels, encoded in every known language, arrives without origin. No signal trail, no energy spike. It's simply there. A human voice. Calm. Unshaken. Familiar. To the Cathari and to all who believed they understood power. You feared nothing. We became fear. The message continues. You came to conquer, and we let you in. You taught us how you fight. We taught you what it feels like to lose before a battle begins. We did not retaliate, we didn't need to. We whispered, we remembered, and now you will too. After that, the message plays a heartbeat. Just one. It echoes through every ship, every outpost, every communication array. One steady thump. Terribly human. It becomes a universal omen. From then on, the Cathari forbid anything that references Earth. Even uttering the name human becomes an executable offense in some systems. AI firewalls are rebuilt to block frequencies resembling Sol's transmission range. Entire sectors are abandoned, terraformed planets destroyed rather than risk contact with whatever lingering influence may remain. But it's far too late. The fear has taken root. In Cathari culture, stories once glorifying conquest are now whispered, warnings of the dead blue world. Children are told bedtime tales of cities that breathe, of ghosts with teeth, of shadows that watch from light years away. Yet no one dares act. Humanity never declared war. They never fired the first shot. They simply watched, and then let others destroy themselves. In the deepest reaches of Dominion space, far from any star map, lies a monument built by defectors and survivors. It holds no symbols, just a dark mirror, polished and obsidian-like. On it is engraved a single phrase: "We were the monsters once. Now we know what it feels like to meet one."